Hello everyone. So today's topic is how I manage college on a budget. So whenever I come up with any topic here, as all of you are aware, every topic you can get information online nowadays. There is an information overload, in fact, on the internet, chat GPT. There are so many other platforms from where you can get a lot of information on any topic that is being discussed. So how this topic is different from any other topic that is available online? As I always say, whatever being discussed here is from a personal point of view. Whatever I have experienced, whatever challenges I have faced, so the topics being discussed here is from a personal perspective as well. So that is why this is different from any strategic points that is available on the internet. That's the first point. Second point, I think these kind of videos will be specifically useful for all the students who are planning to apply for colleges or who are attending board exams right now. So I think planning or the points that I've included is for all those students who are attending their boards and planning to go for higher education. And I know there's a lot of information available on the internet. So this is, as I mentioned, is not the strategic type of points that is available in the internet. This is from my personal perspectives. Okay, so let's get into the topic. Again, as I mentioned, since it's not the strategic type of points which is available, the topics are this topic, that is how I managed my college budget effectively, is divided into 4 subcategories. The first point is finance. The second category is, I would say, discipline. Third category would be learning materials. And the fourth category is extracurricular activities and social activities. Okay. So again, these topics, I don't think it is, since it is from a personal point of view, it's very different from what is available on Google or any other platform that you're looking for more information on relevant topics. Okay. So finances, any finance or any plan or project you are going to go for, you must have a financial plan way ahead. In same way, even for college, before you enroll to any college, you should have your budgeting in mind. And again, let me remind you, the points that I'm discussing here are from a pre-internet era. Okay, the experiences what I'm going to share here are from a very, very long time ago, but I'll try to include some points which are useful for the current era of the internet. So yeah, when I'm coming to finances, yeah, before you enroll to any college in itself, you should have a very good understanding of the budget that you're going to invest for your studies. Okay, so the finances, the basics has to be taken care of, correct? In any individual's, any project you are looking forward to, then you have to plan the basics first. So what are the basics when you're going for a financial planning? Whether you're traveling abroad for your education or your own place, the basics I'm going to cover in this. Okay, so the financial planning starts with your stay, your transportation, your food expenses, and the fourth one would be clothing. Like the basics, food, shelter, and clothing is the same. We are adding the transportation also because it's very essential. So food generally, okay, I'll come to the point from where my experience goes in. Okay, so I used to stay in a hostel when first year I used to travel from my home to the college, but the subsequent years I was in a hostel. So, and the hostel was a little far from the college, so we used to use a public transportation. So that is a transportation part, and the stay part is a hostel, and the third part is the food. Generally, the food is given by in my experience, the food, we opted for the food given by the hostel service itself. So they used to provide us with breakfast and dinner. So it was 2 times a meal, a day meal was provided. Lunch we had, anyway, we are going outside, so we'll have to plan on our own. So what used to happen is that our college starts at 8 a.m. So we have to leave the hostel at least by 7 to get the bus by 7:30 and reach the college by 8 a.m. So our breakfast time at the hostel starts at 7 a.m. So we had to skip the breakfast. So we used to leave the hostel at 7 and get the transportation and reach the college by 8 a.m. So our breakfast part is done, 8 a.m. the college starts. So we didn't have any other option. I'm not advising this for the students. I'm again saying this from what was my experience, okay? So sometimes we used to head to the college canteen and go for breakfast. Most of the time we skip breakfast. Then there was the lunch part. Again, if we were occupied with projects, studies, classes, or examination, most of the time we skipped the lunch as well. Not a good, healthy habit. Anyway, let me come to the point. So after the college, we used to reach the hostel. Sometimes we had snacks. Most of the time we didn't have snacks at all. But one thing what we actually did was to work out. We used to do our studies, worked out, and by the time our workout was done and freshened up, our dinner time started. That is 7 p.m. So 7 p.m. we used to have a dinner. Workout was mandatory. This is something healthy was happening there in spite of our skipping breakfast and lunch. But another thing is, though we were missing the food part, the breakfast and the lunch part, today looking back, what I understand is that there is something called intermittent fasting. So unknowingly were we following the intermittent fasting decades ago? I don't know, but we used to skip breakfast and lunch most of the time and just end up having only dinner. But our schedule, I don't know how it happened, but I think that was our way of hanging on to the intermittent fasting type, whatever. So this used to be the food part and the stay part for us, and the transportation part. Yes, we used to get a student discount. We had to carry the student ID, and we used to get, in those days, we used to get transportation discount for students, and we can travel anywhere with a student ID and get discounts on transportation. Okay, so this is the transportation part. And clothing part, I studied my college in Bangalore. So Bangalore in those days used to have Humpty number of options for any kind of clothing you wanted. You wanted high end, you had it. You had medium range you wanted to go for, you had it. Low range, you had it. So every other option was available in Bangalore in terms of clothing. I think in those days, Bangalore used to be the hub for clothing, at least in the southern part of India. So yeah, we had all those options available. And what I would suggest is that if you're going, depending upon the climate or the place where you're going for your higher education, you will have to choose your clothing accordingly. It's best that you choose for clothes which are easy maintenance, which are easy to clean up, dry, because you won't have much time to take care of to do your chores, especially at the time of projects and examinations and all. You will be really your time will be very, very construed. So it's very difficult for you to you don't want to spend much time on doing chores of cleaning and cooking and all. So I always suggest that it's better you not do cooking and you opt for hostels where you actually are provided with your meals, so you do not waste time on cooking. I'm talking about graduation, okay? I'm not talking about the post-graduation part. I'm just talking about the graduation part, which is exactly after your 12th. Okay, that schedule I'm telling. Post-graduation part is a different story. Maybe in a different time I'll be sharing it. This I'm talking about the graduation part, when you're just 12th passed out of your school and then you're going for your college. Okay, so I would suggest that it's for me it was best that I opted for the facilities, the food offered by the hostel, so I need not cook and eat and need not spend time on cooking. Second one, it's best you go for clothes which are easy maintenance, so you can wash and clean and dry it quickly, and go for multiple options. So if you don't have time to wash and dry the clothes, you have enough stock in advance to go dressed neatly to your school or college. I mean college, and I don't know if you have uniforms and all, you have to take care of the maintenance of the uniforms and the jerseys and jackets and all pants and all the formal outfits if you have. In graduation, at least in part of graduation's time, we didn't have all that, but post-graduation we had specific uniforms that we had to use. So I cleared the food part. And transportation, the first year I used to use my bike to go to college. That's a story on its own, so let me not touch base it. I used to go with my friend Nila. We both used to go to college on my bike. Okay, that's totally different story. So subsequent years I opted for the hostel and the transportation, public transportation. So this is the transportation, food, stay, and clothing part I have covered in the under finances. So you will have to look forward for these basics. So you'll have to plan for these basics when you're planning for your college and higher education studies. So it starts with financial budgeting. Okay, so you will have to budget before you enroll itself. You should have a financial planning or budget planning for the basics. Okay, now the second point is discipline. You have to be highly disciplined. If the one of the best things the college or schools is going to teach anybody other than patience and perseverance is discipline, of course. You have to be highly disciplined in your spending habits to ensure that you have your money to be spent for a whole month. You will also have to put a cap on your monthly budget. You'll also have to put a cap on weekly budget and ensure that you stick to your budget. And in case if there is any unexpected expenditure, how are you going to manage the additional expenses? So this is the planning you'll have to do in terms of the discipline of money management. Okay, nowadays, okay, whatever I'm talking about from my experiences are of the pre-internet era. Okay, when you come to the internet era, what I understand is that there is a lot of applications which you can use for budgeting. Okay, especially for students. What I've heard of the applications that are pretty popular among students is one that is called Mint budget management for I think it's especially for students. And there is one called YNAB. That's also specifically, I think it's helpful for students. I've heard many college students using these kind of applications. And there is one more called Good Budget. So these are all applications wherein you can put in your information. And I think these are free of cost. I'm not sure. But as far as my knowledge goes, these are budgeting applications specifically for students and are free of cost. So I think it will be specifically useful for students to manage and maintain their budget for the budget for your studies. Okay, so discipline is one crucial thing that you have to maintain. For us, it was like always study and study only. So when I talk about discipline, it was majorly about discipline. And yeah, when we talk about a food part of the discipline, we had to stick to that as well. Okay, I think I'll be covering that in probably, yeah, I should have covered it in the meal part itself. See, when we talk about a discipline, like you will have to stick to, if you're trying to stick to the budget, then you will have to keep some for your budgeting for your extra expenditure. As I mentioned, if anything above your budget happens, then how are you going to handle? So what we used to do is that we used to keep like a monthly, once or twice we could go out and have food. So that was a part of our budget planning as well. So we had to stick to the budget. Okay, this is again part of discipline, ensuring that we do not overspend rather than the budget that we have scheduled for the week or the month. Okay, so yeah, so we used to be study and we had to make sure that our meal preps also, okay, meal preparations for the month doesn't mean that preparing the meal manually. What I meant is that we used to maintain a schedule of going out and having food. That also we had to maintain that, okay, we should not go weekly to go outside and have food. We should, whenever we went out, we went to a proper restaurant and tried to have a proper meal, like, you know, like we had the fun entertainment part as part of the meal, going out and having a friend group, going out and having food. So that was one part of ensuring, part of our entertainment part, I would say, going out and having meals once in a month or max twice in a month. We had budget only for that. We didn't have more budget in those days. Okay, so and discipline part, we used to be strict. We had to be strict. Otherwise, we ourselves had to face the consequences of overspending and not sticking to the budget. The consequences we ourselves have to face. So we had no other choice. So we were grewed into being disciplined. Otherwise, we had to face the challenges and the consequences. So either way, we had to handle the situation. So yeah, so discipline part was like, yeah, ensuring that we studied, we stuck to the timetables, we finished the projects on time, we finished the record books on time and made the submittals on time, prepared for the examinations. We had enough attendance. Was the biggest concern. We had to make sure that we had attendance to enable us to sit for the examination. So these all came under the part of discipline. What else? Yeah, and now the third important point is learning material. I think nowadays the sourcing learning material is much more easy compared to the pre-internet era. Pre-internet era, we had to depend upon the school library. That was a good source of getting books for learning. Second, in Bangalore, there used to be used book market. You can get any learning material, any hard copy books that you need to get, you can get it from the used book market. Again, you can also sell whichever you finish studying, you can sell your books in the same market. So that was a good source. We used to share, some of our friends used to get the book, or I used to get the book, and we used to share among the friends. So we need not spend more on buying the same material. Okay, so learning materials. So one was like the library was a good source of information and learning. Second was sourcing books from, getting books from the used book market. So that was another source of getting books, so that we could cut down on budget on spending new books. New books for college used to cost humongous. It was a humongous expense. For study materials used to be such a huge expense. And study material again was not part of college fees. So you will have to invest separately for the study materials. College fee is completely separate and study material fee is completely separate. So we had to invest for that as well. So we used to share among our friends. We used to get we used to do a lot of team study, learning material sharing. My study, we used to have study groups to make sure that we could share our material, share all the notes among ourselves to study. And my friends were of great help. I must mention my friends Bindu, Julie, Abhishek, Neela, Manjima, Anisha. All these people have been tremendous. We used to have a tremendous study group, and we made sure that all of us got through our studies, attempted the exams and cleared the exams. So there was a lot of discipline and prompt use of learning materials to ensure that we got through the college on time without any study lags or without any examination, missing any examination. So we had to ensure that we got through the college on time. So this is the learning material part. Learning material, another thing I would also like to mention is the project part. We had to complete a project, and we did a project on computer science, and we had to design a HR management, a human resource management system for a firm in Bangalore. So and it used to be I think the front end was HTML and back end was Oracle. So we had to design a system for a firm in Bangalore, and we did it with we received a lot of help from Manjima and her family, who really supported our group to complete the project. So it is always a teamwork. It is a lot of teamwork and support from the peers that we give and receive to complete the college. So yeah, this is something I had to mention as well. The project work, we used to have a project work. I don't know how things are nowadays. Nowadays, I think one advantage is that you can source any study material is available online. Any topic, you give in the details and you can get information and learn online. So compared to the pre-internet era, nowadays I think sourcing learning material is much more easier than how it used to be. So that is one point with regard to the learning material I would like to mention. Now the last and final point is with regard to extracurricular activities and social activities. Extracurricular and social activities. College, again, school, college, it should be a complete package. Apart from the learning, it's best we could involve in extracurricular activities. And in those days, our college had a lot of extracurricular activities. Like we used to have college fest, we used to have freshers fest, we used to have sports days. So there was variety of activities happening in the college, and all of us tried to participate in everything, so not just studies alone. So we had college elections we used to participate in, we stood in the elections, we had the competitive spirit and win the election, make our candidate win the election. So there were a lot of things going on along with the studies, which were like molding us as a whole person, as ready to face the corporate world. So there were a lot of things happening in college apart from the studies. We used to have fashion shows, we used to have cultural events, we used to have inter-college fest, and we used to participate in all of them. At least participate. Oh, there was some dumb, very, very dumb incidents, but no matter what, we participated in all of that, just to get the experience, or just to, you don't get that time back. So it's always best you participate in any clubs that is happening in the college, any activities that is going on, go ahead and participate, because that's an experience that you're going to take throughout your life. So all those are learning experiences. Don't let go of any of that. Utilize all that time and have a fun-filled college experience. Apart from your studies, spend time with your friends and have a lot of entertainment along with it, because social activities, at the end of the day, your studies and your your knowledge, you're going to use it in the society, in a corporate. So you need to have all that experiences, that whatever you can obtain from your college. So just go for it. Yeah, so I hope these points are useful for whoever is doing their board exams and is planning to go for their college, whether in a local place or in an international place. And one thing is that it's always you find your you stay closer to the college rather than staying far from your college, so you can reduce the time on your transportation and the expenses on transportation. So try to stay closer to your college when you're looking for accommodation. If you're not staying at your home and you're opting for hostel facilities, always try to look for places closer to your college, so you can cut down on your transportation time and expenses also. So this is one point I think which will be useful for all of you out there. And as always, all your comments and your points are welcome, and I hope this is useful to everybody who is looking to go for their higher studies. So I'll just summarize the points that we just discussed here. So I'm covering, the topic is how I manage my college on a budget, and I've divided this topic into 4 different points. One is finance, second is discipline, third is learning materials, fourth is extracurricular activities and social activities. The finances I've divided into meal, stay, transportation, and clothing, the basics. You take care of this, put a budget for all these things, and then go ahead and execute your budget. The second is discipline. You have to stick to the budget. Otherwise, whatever the consequences happens, you are the only person who is going to face it and find a solution to it. So be aware of the consequences and be aware of the importance of sticking to the budget. So budget, put a cap. It's always better you opt for a weekly budget and then for a monthly budget. And of course, overall, before enrolling to the university itself, you'll have to go for a proper budgeting, whether it's for 4-year college or 5-year college. Go for a proper budgeting. You'll have to look for your expenses. Apart from these, the third significant point that you have to look at is the learning material required for your studies. Nowadays, all the information, most of the information is available in the internet. Utilize it. It's free of cost. Lot available free of cost. Utilize it. So the third point, learning material, you can share among your friends. The books, you can go for used books if you prefer books to learn. Learning material, you can share among your friends. Go for teamwork, go for group studies. Group studies is a very good situation wherein you can exchange a lot of knowledge among your friends and learn from your friends and share knowledge with your friends. So that is a learning material point. Use budgeting applications for to plan for your weekly budget, monthly budget, annual budget, and the whole entire budget required for your studies. Use for applications. I've mentioned some of the applications. You can yourself Google and find out whichever application is especially useful or compatible with your ideas. And the fourth and the final point is, what do I say? Extracurricular activities and social activities. Be a part of every activity, even if you not winning or not enjoying it. Just be a part of it. Just get the experience of what is going on, and it will take you a long way in your career and in your life. So I hope these points are useful for every student who is planning for their higher education. Thank you for your time here, and bye-bye.